Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a big show lined up. Got a special guest here. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. Beginning of school, all kind of programs they have offered over there. Run by and check them out. They got really is an interesting place as far as their variety of courses they have. Some great news. Not that it's high of 91, but guess what the low is, folks? 65 degrees tonight. I've had a double check. I'm going to tell you again, the low tonight is 65 degrees. First time it hit 60s in a long time. So they got a little bit of that cool and drier air. It's not going to be as humid. A little bit of wind direction coming out of north. So be aware of that. I know you're going to enjoy it. Let's take a look at our river readings. Apalachicola at Bluntstown reading of 4.2, staying pretty level. River's in good shape and has been for a good while. The Choctachi at Caryville, it was up a day or two ago. We made a good drop yesterday, and today is a reading of 3.3 and staying pretty steady there. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Looking on the screen, today is the 25th, August the 25th, and the 26th, Wednesday. Good strong tides. We have a high tide this morning at 7:51 and a low tide tonight at 6:08. We got a 2-foot range there and good tides on throughout the weekend. So it's going to be warming back up by Saturday, but the next couple of days it's going to be some cool mornings. So it'll be nice to get out on the water. Marine, like I said, the marine temperature is 86 degrees. It was 87 yesterday, dropped down to 86 today. And the wind direction will be west-northwest at about 5 to 7. All right, that's where the cool air is coming from. Take our break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back this morning, our special guest. Good to see you, Travis.
Good morning.
Travis Bassford, FWC, and man, we have a lot of stuff to share with you, and he's got a list that long. So, Travis, I'm going to let you get started.
All right. First off, I just want to thank everyone for their support and their thoughts and prayers for FWC and Officer David Brady, who was shot August 7th there, and it was a real scary day for all of us. But I don't know how many people I've had since then come up and ask how he's doing, how his family's doing, and just wanting him to be all right.
Yeah.
So.
And you were right there. You were telling me you were right there, but pretty close by. And you got there right after it happened, and it was
sir.
Scary. Yeah.
It was a hectic day, hectic scene, but thank God for bulletproof vest, and we were able to get those two guys apprehended safely. So, real stressful day, but just thanks again to everybody. And he will be returning to work. He's doing well. He's recovering very well, and he should be returning here in the next 2 or 3 days.
Oh, that's great. That's great news.
Yep.
Okay.
So, but moving on from there, we're they're still doing a lot of fishing out there. We're transitioning from kind of a transition season and from fishing to hunting. Alligator season started, so there's a lot of people out there doing that. But we can start off with one thing that we get a lot of calls on this year are deer fawns, and I just want to touch on that because a lot of times people think they're doing a good thing by bringing a baby deer in or a fawn that they think a mother has abandoned. But most of the time, that deer is perfectly fine, and it's doing exactly what it should do, which the doe will hide the fawn in some brush or grass and then go feed for several hours, and then they'll come back. And a lot of people, they see this baby deer there, and they want to pick it up and pet it and bring it to us.
Well, look, we're going to show this picture right here. Tell us about this. This is a great picture. Tell us about this one.
That's my wife, Nicole, and that's a perfect example. What we had the other day was a fawn call she got, and the people picked it up, thought it was abandoned. That's actually right outside a regional office. And then once they're removed from the wild, removed from their mother, it's almost impossible to try to find them at that point. If you leave them alone, they'll be good to go. But she ended up taking that to a wildlife rehabber, a licensed FWC wildlife rehabber, and they'll raise that fawn for 5 to 6 months, and then they will reintroduce it into the wild. And those people that are licensed, that deal with rehabbing a fawn like that, it's a 5 to 6 month ordeal.
Yeah.
And they have to be very careful to not let it imprint on them or dogs, because if they lose their fear of humans or dogs, then eventually they're going to get killed by that in the wild. So they're real cute to look at and stuff, but
Yeah, but so unless you see the mother laying down on the side of the highway or something, just leave them alone. They're going to be okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you have a concern, you can always call our dispatch 850-245-1403. We'll have an officer come out there and take a look, but yeah, unless you can confirm the mother's dead, and that would be a good situation. If you see a doe's been run over and that fawn will stay with the mother, then that would be a good time to bring it in. But any other time, just leave that fawn in the woods where he should be.
I was telling you on the email today, this is a great picture. You can make a poster out of this, and after the commission might need to make a poster with Nicole there. It's a great picture, leave it home or something, and that'll be a great tool and all. But a lot of people don't know that, and they're good-hearted about it. They think they're doing good stuff and all, they're just not sure.
Exactly.
And they're trying to save it, but a lot of times it's more harm than good. So I understand that.
Yep, and we've got a lot of those calls this year, so just leave them alone for the most part, unless you can confirm the mother's been killed. And other than that, like I said, I guess we'll talk about gators because that just came up.
One thing you just mentioned too, with the water temperature, we're talking about how warm it's been lately. You're seeing a lot of bait fish out there, aren't you?
We are. I mean, the bay and along the coast is just full of bait, even out in the Gulf. But it's like bathwater out there, and everything's up here right now. And I mean, early and late, you just see schools and schools coming to the surface.
See a lot of sharks too.
And we are, and that's another thing too. They're everywhere right now. I mean, people are catching them anywhere in a foot of water all the way offshore when they're reef fishing. And the thing with sharks too is, they've become over the past several years highly regulated. Growing up, I always used to see these big shark tournaments, and everyone go out there and catch the big one, bring it in, and that's really not the case anymore. You can only keep a handful of them. So if you're going to go after these sharks, make sure you check your size limits. Your bag limit's 1 per harvester or 2 per vessel per day. And one thing also too, when I see people shark fishing, a lot of times they'll think they'll have one shark and that's another one. And even us as FWC officers, we go through specialized training to be able to ID these sharks different ways. And it's not always by looking at the head or fins. There's different ways to ID them. But two of the most common ones we see in our area are the spinner shark and the blacktip. Yeah. And they're very similar. And on those two, a real easy way to tell is the anal fin, which is on the bottom of the shark, the one closest to the tail. On a blacktip, will not have a black tip on it. Okay. Which is kind of different. You think a blacktip would have black tips on all their fins, but a spinner shark will have that tip. And that's a good way to tell. And of course, all their other fins will be marked, with almost like a Sharpie black. But the difference is a blacktip doesn't have a size limit, a spinner does. Spinner's got to be 54 inches. So that's a good way to tell, and that's probably the most commonly misidentified shark we have. Everyone thinks they have blacktips, and we have a lot of spinners up here. Yeah. And over the years, I've seen more and more. Like I say, it used to be unregulated, but I've seen a lot more shark fishermen now. And they're becoming more aware of it, and the public's becoming more aware of these sharks are protected, and I'm seeing a lot of people take pictures and releasing them, whereas years ago you didn't. They were just keeping everything, but now they're slowly coming around. They're understanding it. It is, and a lot of people just enjoy the fight. They catch those giant ones on the beach and off the piers, and just like an oversized redfish or anything like that. If you bring it in, get a quick picture, let it go, no harm, no foul, and you get to enjoy the fight. And then you get a photo for the memory. That's right. Let's take a quick break. Be right back with Travis. All right, welcome back. So here with Travis, and we got some more stuff. So what you got now? We'll talk about some saltwater fish. It's still going on. We're kind of winding that down, making that transition. Everyone's going to be moving from the water to the woods soon enough. But right now, I know I've talked about this a lot, but greater amberjack going to 34 inches. We're still waiting on the approval from National Marine Fisheries or NOAA, and when that approval goes through, the state will automatically mirror that new size limit of 34. But as of right now, everything that we've got, it's still at 30 inches, could be going up very, very soon. And it's open right now, as well as all your groupers and most of your snappers with the exception of red snapper. Red snapper is going to actually reopen in a couple Saturdays. September 5th is going to be the opening of red snapper, and it's going to be open the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th, and then every weekend until November 1st it will close. So every weekend, Saturday and Sunday in September and October, including Labor Day, which is a Monday, and then it'll close November 1st, which is a Sunday. And that just, it extends the season a little more. I like that. I really do. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be cooling off some, and a lot of folks can only fish on weekends. I really like that. It's great, and that's when you're right. That's when most people can go and enjoy that fishery, and it also helps for weather too, because you can kind of pick. If you get a bad weekend, then you got the next one; it'll still be open. Yep. So that'll be fun, and it will be getting cooler. Been seeing a lot of big bull redfish in the past. We were talking about that earlier on the outgoing tide, free line and live bait, or even topwater plugs, and been catching a lot of big bull redfish. And then I see you got that cool picture pulled up there of blue crabs. They're big right now.
Okay, so a lot of people ought to go crabbing. I mean, this time of year, late summer, is good crabbing.
It is. It's great. And you can go in the daytime. You can go at night. Most people just wade the flats with a big bully net, and they've been catching a lot of nice crabs. I checked someone the other night. They had one live well filled up with smaller crabs about like that, and then they had another one with their big ones. One they were using for redfish bait, and the other ones they're going to eat. So
That's good.
They had plenty.
Yeah.
But one thing to remember when you're going crabbing, just make sure after you get them in the net, flip them upside down. I know you got a good picture there. Make sure they're not egg bearing. The harvest of egg bearing blue crabs is prohibited, and there's a lot of them this time of year. Well, I won't say a lot, but there are some that have the eggs. So those big females that have those eggs, just throw those back. And that's a great picture. Is that up on the screen?
Yeah, we got to see that with Jeff. We got it up there. So that's good, and it's so important, the females in any species in the outdoors. So
exactly,
especially here with the crab and all. So that's good.
We want to make sure that that fishery's around for future generations, and it's just a quick check. I don't know how many people I've checked and they didn't even look, and if you just flip the crab over, it's got that orange on it, those are eggs.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
Exactly. And then when you're doing that, most people know a blue crab, but if you're just getting into it, there are other crabs out there. Stone crab's still closed until October 14th. The blue crabs obviously are blue, and the stone crabs won't have that. They'll be kind of orange and reddish and brown. So, but that's been going on for the past month, and I see a lot of people are going at night because it's cooler.
Yeah.
And
Are they waiting? Are they waiting out, or are they getting in the boats, or how they're?
Most of the time, they're just wading the flats. They got a headlamp, and they're doing real good on them. You can have 10 gallons per day.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of crabs.
That's 2 5-gallon bucketfuls.
Exactly.
That's a lot of cleaning too now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So.
Okay.
And then I guess we'll talk about gator hunting a little bit.
Yeah, because I mentioned I saw a picture last night. I don't have it with me right now, but they're getting some gators now.
They are. Bay County is a county area. They have these different alligator management areas, and the ones in our areas, they're broken up by county, and then we have the two big lakes, Talcon and Seminole, have their own areas. But for Bay County, I'll tell you, the last several years, the biggest alligators have actually come from the bay, where people are going up, Burnt Mill Creek, Crooked Creek, Sandy Creek, and these bayous, and these gators at night will come out. And that's where they're getting a lot of the big ones. I know growing up on Deer Point, there were a lot of big gators. It seemed like since they really started hunting them, either they got smarter, they got them. So, but one thing to remember when you're gator hunting, the quota system for your tags and all is over with. You have your 2 CITES tags, and that's the alligator trapping license, and that's the actual permit holder. And then you can get that agent license that goes with it. If you have an agent license, you can help harvest an alligator with the person that actually has the trapping license, but you have to be in the presence of them. So if you have that agent license, you can help anybody or any friend of yours that has that trapping license, but you can't go do it on your own. If you're going to go do it on your own, you need to have the trapping license and the CITES tags.
I was going to ask you too, is there any minimum size on the gators? I just wonder, just out of sportsmanship, I'm always going to get a small one, but I wonder if the law prohibits anything.
No size limit on them, but most people, they want a big one.
Right.
So they'll work and they'll try to get, most people have, I want one at least over 7 feet or 8 feet, and it's just like anybody else.
Yeah. It's like catching a big fish and all, you're going to throw back all the little ones.
Right, or hunting a big deer. As you progress, you want a bigger one. So most people, they don't kill one unless he's over 6 or 7 feet.
Yeah, that's what the bar. Most people said, like I say, around 7 or 8 foot. Is one of the guys I've talked to, and that's toward the end of the season if they hadn't got one yet. Right,
and right now we're in phase 2. We got the 4 phases. If you are assigned to one of those phases, make sure you hunt in one of those phases, and then when you get done with that phase. On September 12th, then if you haven't filled both your tags, then from September 12th till November 1st, everybody can hunt. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what phase if you haven't filled, by September 12th, and you got all the way till November 1st.
And that's a good way to do that too. They spread it out.
Yep.
Okay, let's take our final break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. The last segment here with Travis Bassford, FWC, former Mosley student and married to a wildlife officer. And y'all busy building a house now. And
Yes, sir.
Is that a lot of work?
It's a huge project.
We've all been through that. It really is. Let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Mark Coward of Counts Real Estate. Looking at our time this morning from 9:47 to 11:47. This evening from 10:16 to 12:16. And again, I want to mention our banquet Friday night down at the First Methodist Church in the Cove, and it's going to be a National Wild Turkey Federation. Ken and Stan are putting it together, and they've been on the show. We talked about it, so we hope to see a lot of you folks there. Okay, and also the Mexico Beach Artificial Reef Association tournament is this weekend, so all kind of things going on outdoors, hunting and fishing. Talking about hunting now, we get in our double D's, our deer and our dove. We're right around the corner.
It's coming up. It's coming up fast, and they haven't released the dates quite yet. Doves are migratory birds, so they're set by U.S. Fish and Wildlife. But more than likely, it's going to be that last weekend in September. They started that last year, and sometimes it's pretty hot, but it gives hunters a chance to really hunt the local birds before that first real cold front of the season kind of pushes them down. And I know that happened on our place last year. We had that early hunt, and we hunted the usual weekend, which would be that first weekend in October. And our cold front came through, and our local birds pushed down, and the migratories weren't there yet.
Yep.
The birds just left. I mean,
I heard that story. Yeah.
It happens. So,
Yeah.
But that's coming up quick, and we'll talk about that some more next show. And one thing that just came out, we had the antler restrictions for white-tailed deer go into effect last year in the Panhandle in the Northwest region, and now FWC made the decision to make that statewide. So throughout every deer management unit, and they're broken up along, all over the map of the state of Florida, there's antler restrictions, and it's either going to be 2 points on one side or bigger, or 3 points on one side or bigger, and it's going to stay the same down here south of I-10, which would include Bay County, 2 points on one side or bigger, or a main beam 10 inches or more, and then north of I-10 is going to be 3 on one side or bigger.
Yeah. We need to be aware of that. And ironically, as we speak, deer season is open down in South Florida right now, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, and I've heard. Can you imagine being a deer stand in this kind of weather? It'd be miserable. Oh man.
I used to watch those guys down there. I did my first 4.5 years in Palm Beach, and those guys, they'd be deer hunting in shorts and flip flops and a thermocell, bow hunting, in August. And I mean, it was miserable. But I mean, those deer down there, they rut at different times, and they want to catch. Every hunter wants to hunt the rut. And,
well, it's scientifically proven about the rut and all, so that's why they have the early season down there. I mean,
they do.
But it's got to be miserable. Flip-flops and shorts.
Flip-flops and shorts and a thermocell, and they get out there after them. And sometimes they're wading through the swamp and canoeing to them because the water's high this time of year. And but they do it. They love to do it. And it was weird when I saw it for the first time, but that's when they get them too. They kill some deer down there.
There's some nice ones every now and then. I guess you saw some.
Yep.
Okay.
And then. The case of the month, we can talk about that, and it's kind of been a transition period. Resource has been a little slower, but Officer Justin Pfeiffer over in Okaloosa County, the Destin area, he's made a 2 or 3 pretty good resource cases over the past week. He was in Destin Pass on Saturday afternoon and checked a boat coming in, and he did his boating safety inspection, went to a fisheries inspection, and in the cooler were several nice reef fish, and groupers open right now, vermilion snapper, amberjack, and asked the captain if there was anything else on board. The captain said no, so he continued to search. We checked the bait wells and drink coolers and all that stuff, and in a hidden compartment up front were the red snapper, and he had 3 giant red snapper in there. And when Officer Pfeiffer asked him, why did you keep it, he said, I went 60 miles off and I was going to keep my snapper. So he was cited for the violation, and if he'd have just waited, it's going to open again here in state waters in a couple weeks, and then it's going to be open on weekends till November 1st. So some people just don't want to wait. But it was a good case made by Officer Pfeiffer over there, and he's actually made a couple nice redfish cases, both oversized and undersized.
Okay. Slot
limit still 18 to 27. And this time of year, we got a lot of, especially oversized fish running, big females. And so it's been like I say, a transition period, but those are some good cases over there that he made, and that's the Destin area, Okaloosa County.
Well, that's good. A couple of quick things too. Floundering, y'all, I know y'all have some night shifts and all that. The floundering looking pretty good.
Yes, sir. They are. They are. We've seen quite a few boats. Usually, you see more numbers in the fall, but the ones they're getting now are pretty nice.
Okay.
And that's just like anytime you run at night, make sure you have your navigation lights on. And we've been seeing quite a few people floundering, and then people doing the bow fishing too. Okay. They've been out there. It's just cooler to do it this time of year, and they're going for stingrays mainly.
Yeah.
So we see them out there quite a bit.
And that's a lot of fun too. And if people need to be feeding their deer sort of year round, they don't need just the rule on that, about the feeders and all. They pretty well. Most people are aware of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. That's correct.
And it's rattlesnakes. Are they still legal to shoot?
You can shoot a rattlesnake as far as I know, and
as far as I know too. And I hadn't heard anything on it. My personal philosophy, I mentioned on the video yesterday, I'm not going to shoot one unless it's on my property around my house, because of the dogs and family and all that. But if endangered, because they're dangerous.
They are, and people are going to run up on them if they're bush hogging and getting their food plots ready. They're going to run up on them, and as far as I know, you can take them.
Yeah, that's as far as I know too. And so we got about 30, 40 seconds left. Any closing comments or anything? I know it's hot out there, isn't it?
It is hot. It is hot. About got overheated the other day. Just got about. That weather's going to be nice coming up.
Yeah.
When it gets in the 60s. But just want everyone to be safe. And as you're making this transition, always remember when you go in the woods, be safe and wear your harness when you're in that tree stand.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that every year. We have those accidents, and we're all going to talk about that. But that bulletproof vest is a mixed blessing. I know it can save your life. I know it also makes it harder.
It does.
But I know y'all wear that with pride.
We do, and we'd rather sweat a little bit than have one go through there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're glad Officer Brady's doing well. Glad you were able to chip in and help out and all. So,
yes, sir.
And y'all be sure, and on the fawns now, make sure you let those fawns go.
Yes, absolutely. And unless you can confirm the doe's dead, please leave that fawn in the woods.
All right, Travis. Thank you, buddy.
Enjoyed it.
All right, man. Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. Do something good for your fellow man. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.